here and just get this thing going. Lauren, you still with us back there behind the scenes?
I sure am. Hi, Patrick.
There she is. All right. Well, hey, thank you for joining me today, Lauren. I'm just thrilled that you have built your business to the point where now you're just living on an island somewhere in the Pacific and semi-retired, right?
That's the dream.
That's the dream, yeah. Well, I'm going to just ask you some questions that we've already talked about, of course, for the sake of our audience. But folks, if I don't get to the question that you'd like to ask Lauren, this is your chance. Now, if you ask her something about like exactly how much money is in your bank account and what's the account number, I won't ask that question out loud. But anything else is pretty wide open. So, Lauren, let's start with what you did before you actually looked into getting into our business.
Well, I actually had spent about 12 years at a management consulting firm. So I have a consulting background. And in the couple of years before I joined ABS, I actually left that consulting firm and went independent, working for myself as an independent consultant here locally in South Florida.
Good for you.
Yeah, so that was my first move from corporate to really taking a little bit more control over my life in that move.
Yeah. And was that your first foray into entrepreneurship, owning your own business?
It sure was. It sure was.
Kind of scary at first.
And very scary. It was still a time, it was about 2018, but I was still being told by the corporation that I had worked for that, you know, they really couldn't imagine a world in which I could be a successful consultant and also work remotely. So it's only in 2018 that people were saying that. Turned out not to be true at all, but that was the environment that caused me to leave and want to be independent.
And then I guess when the pandemic hit there, at the beginning of 2020, you were just already positioned to work remotely.
Yeah, I was already positioned to work remotely because I had gone essentially remote 2 years earlier in a completely different business. So when this opportunity came along, it just fit like a hand in glove in what I was already doing.
Yeah, because I think your consulting, you said, had to do with medical businesses that like big corporations that produce medical equipment and kind of things like that. Not necessarily with doctors' offices, huh?
Yeah, my independent consulting work was in healthcare, and it was really focused on large companies, mostly Fortune 500 companies, some smaller public health departments, but very healthcare focused. So biotech companies, pharmaceutical companies, medical device companies and such, trying to basically get more efficient and profitable. You know, just trying to standardize processes, improve different processes in the company, and you know, really improve their technology and such.
Yeah, so it was really bottom line trying to help them bring in more profits. And of course, that's what you do as an ABS licensee or business owner. You're basically helping doctors to
do the same exact thing.
Yeah, bring in more revenue and keep more of what they earn. Yeah,
exactly, to become more efficient and profitable. Absolutely. Yep.
And so you said that some franchise consultant contacted you just kind of out of the blue?
Yes. So this is the middle of the pandemic, sometime in 2020, mid 2020 or so. And I had taken a leave of absence because, you know, I had a family emergency during the pandemic. My mother had gotten gravely ill. And so I had taken a break. And while I was on that break, just kind of tending to family affairs, I got a call from a franchise consultant. And she said, "Are you just interested in learning about, you know, opportunities for different businesses?" And at the time I was still, my independent consulting was on hold, but I was open. So I said, sure. So I didn't go looking for this opportunity at all. But once we started talking and she did an assessment of, you know, what it is that would really make me happy from a business perspective, this was on the short list. And I think it's because it just fits so well with what I really like to do, which is to help businesses, to help people, and of course the healthcare focus. So so it really just felt like a perfect fit.
And I guess you learned early on as you looked into our business that it really is a consulting type thing, isn't it? It's not, you're not selling anything to the doctor. You're just asking them some questions and finding out whether you have some solutions to help them with their revenue.
That's 100%. That's
Yeah.
100%. And we, and I love the fact that, it's not just one offering. We don't just do medical billing, but there's an array of services that we can offer because, every now and then people don't, need exactly medical billing when you talk to them. Maybe, the opportunity comes some months or weeks down the road. So it's nice to have a full offering of services like you were showing before. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it.
All these things really were developed over the years because a licensee would come to us and say, look, I just talked to the doctor's office who has a problem with, they don't know what they're doing when collecting money from their patients, for example. They don't want to turn it over to a collection agency. So we found a partner that we partner with on that quick collect that you see there that actually helps to collect from patients and without, making them mad. And so every one of them came up from a need that some doctors said they had, and we just found a solution to that. That's somebody one time who was rich said that's how you get rich is find a need and fill it.
Yes.
So, yeah. So here's a question from Anne. She says, did you look at other businesses before deciding on ABS and medical billing?
Yes, actually, through that franchise consultant that randomly contacted me, we went through dozens of businesses, everything from actual true franchises to, different coaching opportunities to tutoring opportunities. I mean, she really had everything in the kitchen sink. But I think what they try to do, these franchise consultants, at least the good ones like her, is they really hone down and give you some assessments to see where are your strengths, where are your interests, and kind of what's that intersection. And so the things that bubbled up for me were more consulting focused just because of my background. So none of the franchises really worked, but I gravitated towards things that I could build and mold myself. And this business really resonated to me because, it doesn't have to look the way, anybody else's business looks, So for me, I took the training and the tools and I made it into a consulting business for doctors. Because that's what I wanted my business to look like. So I really liked that piece of it. But yeah, I did look at quite a few opportunities. Mm-hmm.
Now, tell us how you actually started out. When you started out, what type of marketing did you do, or how did you run across, your very first client?
Well, I did a number of things. I joined a networking group called BNI. You may have heard of it, Business Networking International. I actually had never heard of BNI before getting involved with ABS, but it was one of the recommended kind of professional networking tools, which has turned out to actually be great. But that's not actually how I got my first client. My first client I got through a lead service, actually just a local lead service here. What they do is they're a company that qualifies leads. So doctors reach into them and say, I want medical billing services, and they basically then share that information for a fee. And so since it was during the pandemic and I knew I wasn't going to be able to, be out and be, knocking on medical office doors and, really meeting someone, meeting people in person, that was what really worked for me. And so, yeah, my first dental client came through that lead service.
And that was a dental office, did you say?
Yeah, it was a dental office, about 3 dentists. Actually, she's currently still a client now. And you know, so just a very unique opportunity. In fact, one of the things that she was struggling with was she obviously had figured out the dental billing situation, and she had someone on staff that was handling her billing. So no issues with dental billing. It's very straightforward. But what she was trying to do was really grow her practice. And what she had kind of come to realize is that dental insurance covers very little when it comes to things like surgeries and sleep apnea and things like that. So she wanted to, instead of billing those services to dental insurance, find a way to get more money and build them to medical insurance. So that's what she brought me on to help her with. It was just this very specific niche. And frankly, even though I had never done anything like that before, I just said yes and knew that I was going to have to figure it out, which I did. There was a lot of scrambling going on, but that was my first client.
So I'm assuming that you reached out maybe to our support department. Did we help you with that?
Yes. Yes. The fabulous Tim Warren. Hope you don't mind me mentioning him, but yes, the support staff. I absolutely can say hands down, I would not have been able to do it without him and without that support staff, really. You know, and what that looked like for me was I just had questions every single day, you know, from as basic to how do I access my client's system to how do I prepare my first month-end report and everything in between. And so that has really made the difference for me, knowing that I can set time and it's fine. You just take the time you need. And
yeah, I tell people you could certainly start your own medical billing company without our help. It's just that it would probably take you a whole lot longer because you wouldn't have the resources. You know,
you'd have to figure it out yourself. Yeah,
right. Mm-hmm. And the tools, we've got the tools already developed, agreements, you know, marketing ideas and books and flyers and things like that. So it's just like, don't reinvent the wheel. If you can afford the licensing fee, then just jump in there. And believe me, it's a whole lot more than $29,000 for, you know, learning all of it on your own.
Oh my goodness, I can't even imagine. Yeah, I'm very sure I would not have taken this on my own. Very sure I would not have done that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So the first client was there. It was a medical, a dental office.
Yeah.
What about your second client? How did you run across them and who?
Second client came from the lead service as well. It wasn't until the third client actually came through the networking group and just networking and coordinating with people. And then you actually reminded me a little earlier that my fourth client came through this postcard campaign that I had done. So just a variety of ways. I personally like to try different marketing techniques just to kind of see what works.
Yeah. Sure.
You know, so luckily the pandemic is over, but you know, so many of the marketing techniques can be, you know, you just use whatever you're comfortable with. If you're a people person, the networking is probably great. If you're not, there are just tons of things that can work. So it's been no shortage of things to use.
Have you utilized, or were the books available when you joined us?
Yes.
That I'm showing here. Yeah.
Yes, I have actually used the books. You know, I tend to use this with current clients. I didn't give this out to prospects, but you can certainly do that. But I basically use it once I've established that relationship, and it's kind of like a thank you. You know, here, I'd like to offer you this. And some of these materials, you're just showing two, but I think there's two others because I don't have these two, but I have a couple others here.
No,
so
you're correct. There's four now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, these are wonderful little thank you gifts.
Yeah, because you can have your name printed right there on the cover. On the inside, your contact information can be here on the inside. That makes it a great marketing tool, and it builds credibility because that particular book, for example, was written by a doctor. So when your name is just on the cover, close to the name of a doctor, that adds huge credibility to to another doctor. Yeah. Sirfield Thomas, anyway, I'm sure that's the first name is Thomas, is asking about the lead service. And I really don't want to share that information on a webinar like this, but I will say that, we talked about it earlier, and Lauren's going to share that information with me, and we'll be glad to share that individually with you. So Thomas, get back with your ABS rep and ask about that. Let's see, Nancy says, are accessing the system and preparing monthly reports included in the training? Yes, we have.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, all of our systems include training on how do you produce that report for the doctor so they know what was done at the end of the month.
And the great part about the training is that, you can keep going and reaccessing and accessing and accessing, because even now, it's been a year, almost a year and a half, there are still things I just need to go and refresh. It's at least once a week, I'm going back on the site, I'm looking to see, okay, how exactly is this done? And, there's just so many different topics on there. So, and the training is continually refreshed. So, so that was a good question.
Yeah, you're referring to our licensing website. It's a private website that's only available to people, of course, who've gone through our training, but you have your own login and so forth. And when you get there, you'll find there's a ton of stuff there over the years that we've put on that site, isn't there, Lauren?
Yeah, I don't think I've gone through everything just yet, but yeah.
And we constantly, I think that's a screenshot of something we just did today. We posted something just today. So it's updated on a regular basis, and it has recorded training that's there for you to review. Yeah, 24/7. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Here's a question is, what is the best thing? This is from Jenna. What is the best thing about running your own business?
Well, for me, as I was mentioning before, it's the fact that I can make this business exactly what I want it to look like. I don't need to follow anybody's blueprint or template. If I want to, for example, add a service on cost reduction strategies, because that's what I care about, I can do that. If I want to add some additional consulting, marketing services, or, something that's not directly tied to billing, I can just, kind of make it look and feel like what I personally want to make it. So for me, that's really the most important. Just having that complete control is probably what I value the most. Yeah. I wish I could sit here and tell you, oh, I have a flexible schedule and all that, but no, it's actually been kind of crazy. it's not, I've not reduced my hours working yet. I'll get there, but that is not yet.
When you start your own business, I kid with people and say, look, when you start your own business, you can work any 12-hour period of the day you want to. Because you have to put in some time. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's a real business that provides a service to real doctors that need it.
Yeah. And I didn't have a medical billing background. Yeah, I had a consulting background, and that's great. And yes, the training is fantastic, but you still have to put in the work to really learn this business. And that cannot be underestimated. And frankly, I am still really, really digging in to try and make sure I understand this on a very deep level. So, so that's where I'm at with it now.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So we got kind of sidetracked there, I think, on your second client. What kind of client was that?
That was a mental health clinic. And essentially she was a solo practitioner, and she was recently divorced. Some things, personal things had happened, but what caused her to reach out was that she was struggling with seeing 30 patients a week and also handling all of her billing. And so she was basically spending her nights and weekends, in her system, trying to keep up and failing. And so she was at a fairly high level of anxiety when she reached out, because her system was a mess, her record, reporting was difficult, sending client statements was really difficult because the data was not accurate. And so so she was just like, please help me. So.
Yeah, some doctors, they try to do it themselves, even if they have staff. They try to hire somebody to do that, but then that person goes off and finds another job for $1 more an hour, and you lose that person. Now you got to start all over again. Meanwhile, your billing is just sitting there for a week or two, stacking up, and yeah, it's much better now. I don't know what you found, but we have found nationwide that about half the doctors out there have already outsourced their billing. There's a lot of doctors who've decided that's the best way to go.
Right.
Unfortunately, even some of those companies that they've chosen to outsource it to still don't know what they're doing. Their rejection rate is still really high. They don't know how to get the maximum dollar in for that doctor. And with our system, it just works. Less than 2% rejection rate on our claims. So
Right.
that's very unusual. All right, so this was a mental health. You said she had about 30 clients a week. Is that a pretty hefty billing for a mental health? It's like per hour?
Yeah, for her, that's a full load for her. In fact, she had kind of mentioned to me that she's at the point where that's as many clients as she feels like she can handle in a week. So, and if I'm not mistaken, she's really working Monday through Thursday. And so those 30 clients are on those 4 days. So it's a long day. Some of them are telehealth, some are in person. So it's not, too crazy, but she has just mentioned that that's maximum capacity. She doesn't want to grow. She's just wants to see clients. That's it.
Sure.
So it's been good to be able to take that off her plate,
Sure.
So.
Does she indicate that she knows other therapists that she might refer to you somewhere down the line?
Well, not just yet. Not yet.
She's not quite ready yet.
To be honest, there was so much cleanup to be done in her system. And so it's been about, I would say 3 to 4 months now, and we're still just trying to get her in a kind of rhythm and flow. She loves using paper, handwritten notes that she's sending. So yeah, we're just still trying to get her into some sort of rhythm. So
she's bound to know other counselors that help. So that'll be a good referral system once you
looking forward to it. Yeah.
And so do you bill her on a percentage of the money collected?
Yes, that's how I billed her. Actually, I did a little bit of a hybrid since we were in, I was just mentioning she had a lot of cleanup because she had not really, she had not entered any sort of receipts or anything like that, patient payments in just years. So there was a lot of cleanup to do. So a part of the billing was hourly for us to kind of bring that back into balance. And then going forward, we are charging her as a percentage of her revenue. So I did a hybrid there because she just had a lot of other work to do than just the billing. So yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Roland asked the question, how many clients do you have? I think you told me earlier 4.
Now.
What about the third one? What kind of doctor practice is that?
This is a large physical therapy client. Actually, this was the first one that's in my state, down here in South Florida. The other two, the mental health one is in Minnesota and the dentist is in Michigan. But this provider reached out. Actually, he just found me through Google. And so he reached out and wanted a very detailed audit of his billing and coding and documentation, because he plans to expand all over the state and wants to make sure that, you know, if he were to be audited, that his books were in order. So that's how we started that relationship. Yeah, and he's here local.
Oh, he is local there in Florida.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good. And then I think you mentioned that fourth client was using actually just one of the ancillary services.
Right. The fourth client, that's what I mentioned with the cost reduction. So part of the portfolio of ABS services includes this cost reduction service through Schoolie Mitchell. And through the networking group, I came across another mental health provider. And but in her case, unlike the solo practitioner, she actually had multiple offices. She had 10 employees. She, you know, was very well established, and we got to talking, and you know, this her need to really look at her expenses came up, and I thought, well, let's do some analysis with the cost reduction offering that we have through Schoolie Mitchell. And so that's how she became a client. So she is actually not a billing client at all, but but she is loving the cost reduction.
Well, and hey, that's what those other services are for, is just, again, get your foot in the door. And now you're a part of her practice, so to speak, in that you're providing a service that's useful to her. Maybe some follow-up somewhere down the line, she might think, oh, well, maybe I'll try outsourcing my billing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's just such a great door opener to be able to, you know, listen to people holistically and not just be listening for billing issues, but to be listening for any possible issue that could be happening with their practice.
Right.
You know, yeah.
Now, Roland also asked, are you covering these clients yourself? These 4 clients, you do all the work yourself, or do you have employees?
I do not have employees. I do have some contractors, and I'm still trying to find the right fit. So I don't have it down pat, but I actually am at the point where I do have a couple of people working for me, and I'm looking to add more, swap out and add more. But yes, to answer your question, yes, I do have help.
Yeah, the great thing is you can build this as big as you want, or you can keep it as small as you want. Some people don't want to deal with any kind of, not necessarily employees, but even contractors, you know. So,
yeah, I'm frankly not big enough, you know, with just having just started to hire employees, but that would really be ideal at some point, you know. So, and I don't know if I mentioned, but, you know, I think it's probably important for people to know that I'm actually still doing consulting with the larger companies. So this is not the kind of medical billing consulting side. This is not my full-time job. I'm actually still working full-time doing consulting, and really this is like a second full-time job for me. So, you know, so I just wanted people to know that, you know, there is a way to still grow this business, and, you know, while also still working.
Yeah, we have a lot of folks that still keep their 9-to-5 job and do this in their quote spare time, after hours, before hours, you know, whatever it takes. We can show people how to do that. We had one lady that was, gosh, she was in IT and she was working 60 hours a week
Wow.
in Colorado. And she said, I just determined I wanted to work and build my own business. So I got out there at early morning networking groups who meet for breakfast at 7, and then afterwards, those who meet afterwards. And she said, I just worked until I found enough clients to be able to tell my boss goodbye.
Right. Right. Yeah. I'm not there yet, but that's the hope.
Right. Let's see. Wendell says, what system do you use to bill for the clients? Now, I thought you said that you were not actually using our cloud-based system to do the billing. But you can use anybody's system, can't you?
Yeah, I can. In fact, no, I am not using the kind of iClaim. You know, and that's, I think, another part of what I like about this business is that, you know, I can really go in and you know, use whatever the customer is comfortable with. And it just so happened with, you know, my first couple clients here that I'm mentioning, that they really love their system. I mean, when I talk about love, I mean, these two mental health therapists, they have a love affair with their system. They really like it. It's very highly rated. And so that would have caused a lot of disruption if I had come in there and said, I'm going to switch you to another system. So, so that was a strategic move on my part to, you know, cause as little pain as possible. Let's just solve the issue. Yeah.
Sure. And so you just have a login. Is it cloud-based?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I have my own login, and, you know, I'm able to kind of work separately from the physician. You know, we don't see any, you know, patients, you know, sensitive patient data. All that can be very easily worked around, for sure.
Yeah, even though our iClaim system, folks, has won a lot of awards and is really highly rated, it's not the only system out there, and it really doesn't matter. A billing system is a billing system. Once you learn where the buttons are to push, you can learn any of them to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for the dentist, I mean, that's a completely, that's Dentrix, which it so happens that one's the largest system out there, but it, you know, it's, once again, that would have caused some real pain to move them off that. But yeah, so you can run this business the way that, you know, you need to keep your clients, you know, to do what's right for them is what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Toby's asking, what percentage are you charging? Can you give us a feel? You don't have to tell the exact number, but what do you think is a good rate that you can charge for this type of service to doctors?
I'm usually between 5 and 7. So just depending on what they need. You know, the one thing I will say is that, you know, when you don't have the system costs that you would have if you were, you know, using an iClaim or something, you can really be more competitive with it. And so, so I take the opportunity to, you know, just shave a little bit off. So that's why sometimes I'm more in the, you know, 5 to 6 range. You know, particularly if I'm not spending $200 a month on a system, I feel like I can do that. Yeah, I'm not saying that's for everyone, but I just give the savings back to the client.
Yeah, that's right. Just pass it back to the clients. And really, that's something that we can help with, folks. When you go out and do what we call a practice analysis, you gather some information from that office. And if you share that with us, we can give you at least our experience from the last 28 years. What would be a good fee probably to charge? You can't charge too high or you won't get the client. You can't charge too low or, you know, you won't get enough money to make it worthwhile. So,
right.
Yeah. Let's see. Somebody's asking here. Sirfield says, does ABS help you with learning those other systems? Did we help you with that at all, or did you learn it on your own?
So a little bit of a mix of both. So no, the support that ABS provides is not going to give you the system training so that you're proficient on that necessarily. But what they will do, which I really appreciated, was just kind of like conceptually, these are the tasks that you need to be doing in the system every day. These are the best practices. So believe it or not, I found just by following some of the training on iClaim and learning like what I needed to be looking for, in the system, you know, applying a payment, applying a, you know, an EOB, creating a patient statement. Those things are so similar that I was able to actually translate that in the other systems. So these systems are frankly not hard to learn. The other piece I'll mention is that all these systems also have a lot of training themselves, like the dental systems. I mean, they actually had a full-on training course. So don't be afraid of some of these other systems, because the resources, from what I have seen so far, are really there. They want you to know and learn their systems.
Yeah, and all of our technology partners have their own training, you know, videos, website full of little, you
Oh
know,
yeah,
3 to 5 minute
YouTube.
videos.
Oh
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Sergio is asking, how long have you been with ABS? Didn't you say you started your actual marketing in January of last year, or 19?
I finished the training, the 10 modules in January, and I probably like full on started the marketing probably in about March 2021. So I'd call it about, what is that, 15, 16 months or so.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
really, the pandemic just kind of was right there in the middle of you're getting
Oh,
started.
yeah.
With it.
Oh yeah. Pandemic was in full effect.
Okay, so Simi says, congratulations. So the business really does help doctors to have less rejection claims, since you have been helping your clients using the training you have. It really
Yeah.
works, doesn't it?
No, it really does work. And I think where these, from what I'm seeing, where these doctors are having the issues is that it's not that this work is so hard, but they're not able to devote the time to just do the follow-up and the maintenance that's required. So the work itself is actually quite simple, but you know, just having your eyes on it, your team's eyes on it every day is what makes the difference. That's all it is.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with our technology and the fact that we have a built-in clearinghouse, for example, in the iClaim system.
Yes.
That's one reason why the rejection rate is
Are
so
low.
low.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's see. Well, I think that's it. I see a couple of questions here that are really aimed. We should point some of these back to our ABS reps. So, Lauren, is there anything you want to share with people before I let you go? I'm so thankful for the time that you spent today with me. I know you're busy running your business, but this has been very helpful, I'm sure, to a lot of people.
Well, yeah, I just want to say, you know, it's just been such an amazing opportunity. You know, I'm still so early in, as I, you know, 15 months or so, as I mentioned, but I am so glad that, you know, I took this risk to really start this business. And I've been, I'm just really excited to see where it can go. So, you know, as I said before, I didn't go specifically looking for this type of business, but I'm just so glad that I found it, Patrick. So, and a big thank you to you for creating this opportunity in this company.
Well,
so
thank you, and I'm very impressed with somebody that you know decided they wanted to go out on their own, start their own consulting company, and now has started a second business with ABS. So congratulations. That's that means you certainly have the ambition and the drive to build this business just as big as you want, Lauren. We're here to help any way we can.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, bye for now. I'm going to finish up here with a few more slides to tell people how to get involved if they want to get involved with us. And I think I'll do that by starting here with this slide right here. This is a shot of our training, I should say our support department. We have offices all over the United States. This is our California office, where, as you can see, there's, I don't know, 30 people there in those cubicles, all ready to help you with whatever questions you have once you do join us. We have lifetime support, by the way, and that means that you should know about our lifetime support. Plus, on top of that, hard to believe, I know, but we're the only medical billing training company that offers a 100% money back guarantee. Ask your ABS rep about that, but basically in the first 30 days, if this turns out to not be what you thought it was, you can just ask for your money back, and we will give that back to you. No questions asked. Well, we might ask why, but that's just because we want to know how to get better. But, we don't have anybody asking for that on a regular basis. Believe me, a handful in the past 28 years have asked for their money back, but it does happen because everybody's life is different and, things happen in your life. All right, so I'm going to give you some steps here to take. There's only 6 steps that you need to do. So you can take a screenshot of this when I get to the last one if you want to there. The first one is to ask for our research guide. Look, here's what it looks like. And if you haven't gotten this from your ABS rep, I'll show you how to get this from them. But it's over 65 pages of information that's nowhere on our website. That's right. This is private information that's just for people who are serious about getting into our business. Ask for the research guide. By the way, if you're not sure who your ABS rep is, there's our phone number. You can call that right now or anytime during the business hours. And you can email us there at info@absystems.com. And that'll also be able to ask us, about that research guide. Browse our YouTube channel. Here's what it looks like, by the way. We've got dozens, literally over probably 150 different videos that we've posted out there on our channel. So you'll be able to learn a lot about different topics. For example, today we didn't zero in on how do I get clients, but there's webinars that are out there on that topic. We didn't talk about how much money you can make. There are webinars on that topic. So just about anything you want to know is out there on our YouTube channel. There it is, right there, youtube.com, YABS. Then as for our ABS licensee references, we actually have people like Lauren, who I don't know if she's on that list or not, but anyway, you can actually ask for that list. And it's dozens of people who have said, you know what, I'll be glad to take a phone call from time to time from people who are looking at getting into the business. And these are people who've actually started their business. They've gone through our training. Most of them are full-time, and they'll tell you, exactly what they think about ABS and our opportunity. And so I encourage you to get that reference list as well. Then, if you haven't sent a demo of our system, we will get online with you using Zoom here, just like today, one-on-one, going through the entire system with you. Now, the great thing is that once you've seen that demo, you are now eligible for us to actually do demos for your prospective doctors. That is, whether you join us and then get the demo or get the demo and then join us, doesn't matter. We're going to do the demos for your prospective doctors and show them the system. We'll answer all their questions. We have professional people like this young man up here in this stock photo who can give you a guided tour of the iClaim system. And then you and a partner or a spouse or whoever else you want to be can be on that as well and listen to the exact questions that the doctors ask. If you're wondering how effective those are, about 50% of the doctors who watch those demos actually move forward and join us as clients. Yeah. So be sure and ask your ABS rep to give you that demo. Then next to the last step is just to review the purchase agreement. It's not a great big long 30-page document like a franchise has. We are a licensee specifically because we wanted it to be very straightforward, simple. It's got all the information that you need about the business. You can read that over, pass it by a friend or an attorney or CPA and just have them look at it as well. Once you've decided it's time to move forward, you need to send in your agreement and your funding and schedule your training. Now, somebody asked me on here about the capital. How do I get the capital? Now, I don't have time on a webinar like this today to go into that, but there are ways that you may not have thought of that you can raise the money to get into this business. We've had people put this on 2 or 3 or even 4 credit cards because they didn't have enough, credit limit on one. So it's up to you, but we do have some suggestions we can give you. Again, call your ABS rep and ask them about that. It's the person who invited you to this webinar, by the way. Your rep sent you an email, and you might look in your inbox and find an email from absystems.com, and that will be your ABS rep. Or you can just email us there and ask us about that. Who's your rep, and we'll put you in contact with them. I'm going to leave this on the screen here, but let me show you one more slide before I go, because we are I don't know if oh, no, we didn't go over the last step there, which is send in that agreement and schedule your training. Now, folks, here's what we do. We actually certify trainers who are actual business owners themselves. In other words, they're running their own medical revenue management company, just like Lauren is, and just like you will be doing. And they are people who've been certified, that have gone through our training and learned how to train other people. So you'll be put together with that trainer, and that trainer will then set up on your own schedule, one-on-one with you, exactly when you can meet to go through the modules. Because again, they're about an hour and a half a piece, about 90 minutes. There's 10 of them. And if you're wondering, yes, you can get through those actually in the first 30 days easily. We've had people go through it faster than that. You can drag it out one session a week if you want to, 2, 3, 4 sessions a week, whatever it takes for you to get the training done as quickly as you want to. We're open to that. Now, you can also have another friend or spouse or partner actually attend that training on their device as well from their own home. And you have some homework assignments after each session. So you'll want to allow for that. Ask your trainer a little bit more about that when you schedule that training. Then as soon as you graduate, you'll of course be certified as a certified, see it right here, certified medical revenue manager. And so I'm going to leave this up here, but I want to tell you about next week, because we do these webinars every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Time. And next Wednesday, our webinar is, Can You Build Wealth Offering Medical Billing Services? How much money can you make? It doesn't sound like Lauren is making a full-time income yet off of our business, but then she's running another consulting business that she makes money on as well. So, she's dividing her time between the two, and that's fine. You can do whatever suits your lifestyle. But if you want to run a business that can bring in a high 6-figure revenue, folks, we'll show you more about this next week. Just go back to our website. Probably will be all ready to go by this time tomorrow, and just sign up for next week's Wednesday webinar. All right, well, folks, thank you for your time. It looks like it's almost the top of the hour. Let me see if I missed any questions over here. I think that's it for now. So thank you for your time. I hope this has been entertaining and educational for you. As you can see, I don't do a lot of hard sell on this opportunity because it's not for everybody. It doesn't fit everybody's lifestyle. Some people can't follow directions. Maybe you don't like healthcare. There's lots of reasons why you might not get involved in our business, but that's okay. We're fine with you getting involved when you're ready. We've had people go through these webinars, believe it or not, 2 and 3 years of watching our webinars and learning about this as they put together their funding. So we'll be here, hopefully, another 28 years, ready to help you get in business for yourself whenever you're ready. Again, my name is Patrick Phillips. I'm the founder of American Business Systems, and I thank you for your time. I hope I see you on one of our upcoming trainings, and we'll be able to do an interview with you about your business somewhere down the line. Bye for now.